Tonight, we are sitting outside my door looking at my jack-o'-lantern that I carved a couple nights ago. We are doing this because as we leave the spirit of Halloween, I'd like to talk about Samhain. I've been a pagan for a while now, but this was my first year really putting an effort into celebrating Samhain. And I just kind of want to talk about what I did and how pagans can celebrate Samhain going forward. Starting with the jack-o'-lantern, and this is very interesting. So they didn't have pumpkins in Europe. Pumpkins are native to the Americas. I forget where, but they weren't in Europe. They actually used turnips to carve jack-o'-lanterns. And the reason they would carve jack-o'-lanterns is with the belief in the thinning of the veil, the belief that our world and the world of the dead, the spirits, grow closer, and the barrier between those worlds grows thinner during winter months. Come Samhain, when we start to enter into the thinning of the veil, there would be both friendly wanted spirits like our ancestors and the gods, as well as some mischievous and or harmful spirits. And the jack-o'-lantern acts essentially like a spirit scarecrow by carving a frightening face into a turnip or now a pumpkin and lighting it up with a candle. I don't have a candle in mine right now, but I did. It would frighten off unwanted spirits that would cause mischief and harm in our lives. This is also where trick-or-treating originated, because along with the carving of jack-o'-lanterns to frighten off spirits, they would also leave sweets on their doorstep as an offering to appease. It might have been an offering to wanted spirits like ancestors, or it might have also been to appease some of the unwanted spirits, to give them a reason to take what they want and leave. If anyone knows, feel free to drop that in the comments. I'm doing this kind of off memory right now. I haven't researched this all too recently. But that's how jack-o'-lanterns started. That's what they're for. They are to frighten off unwanted spirits. Another thing I found interesting when researching Samhain recently, I know I just said I didn't, but there was one thing I did try to research, and that was, I know that the Celtic pagans did not have a Julian or Gregorian calendar. So it could not have possibly been the 31st of October every year. And when I researched this, the best answer I found is that in the old days, Celtic and Germanic pagans would judge based on what certain plants do at certain times of the year when they would celebrate Samhain. It's probably almost impossible to determine that now. I've heard several ways of finding it on the calendar that all disagree with each other. I've heard just do it on the 31st just because. I didn't like that answer. I don't like that answer. I've heard it's 15 degrees of Scorpio. I tried to look up what that means. If anyone could explain it to me in terms that I can understand, leave that in the comments. Tell me what 15 degrees of Scorpio means and how I find that on a calendar. I've heard look for the new moon in the sign of Scorpio, which makes some amount of sense to me. And there's two arguments on finding these holidays based on the moon cycle. And the first is that you can't have it on the same moon phase every year because it's a mathematical solar. You find the solstices and the equinoxes and the cross quarters, and they are when they are. That's not going to automatically co-align with the moon phase. The other argument is, as spiritual people, as pagans, we believe in the significance of celestial events and of particularly the moon phases. And there is something to be said for, instead of celebrating it on exactly the correct day, which our ancestors would have had very little means of determining mathematically without modern sciences anyways, instead of being so precise with that, there's something to be said for tying our celebration to a phase of the moon. I agree with that. I like that. So here's where I placed Samhain on the calendar. I did the math based on the winter solstice and the autumn equinox, and I calculated exactly halfway between them, and that came out to the 6th or 7th of November. It'll be off a day or two every year, is my understanding, but it's about the 6th or 7th of November, and I looked for the closest new moon to that day. That happened to be the 1st of November, the day after Halloween. That is when I did my Samhain ritual and celebrated Samhain. If anyone has any thoughts, let me know in the comments. I thought that was a good way to do it, and I like that, and I think that's what I'm going to do going forward. I love this jack-o'-lantern. I kind of based it on a jack-o'-lantern t-shirt that I got that I thought was pretty freaky and pretty awesome. So what I did after having my jack-o'-lantern carved, making sure I had a candle in it on the night of Samhain, I took from what I was going to prepare for my dinner, which was mostly pork and a beer or two, and I made an offering essentially to whatever gods and spirits wanted to listen. I called out, and essentially I said, if anyone's looking to harm me because I'm neglecting them, take of this freely. If anyone is looking to benefit my life and look out for me, take this as a thank you. I chose to go with meat and beer, partly because it is the majority of my diet anyways. Sorry, I have a little bit of a cough that's still going away. But also because symbolically, as this was also a thinning of the veil, but also a harvest festival, I chose meat for the slaughter and ale for the harvest to represent that. I am now getting to the point where I feel like there is more that I want to talk about, and I am just simply not remembering it. Jack-o'-lanterns are fun. Jack-o'-lanterns are very fun. And that was a huge part of the Samhain season to me, was carving this jack-o'-lantern. And that really is Wisdom of Odin, in his video, said like the best way to celebrate Samhain as a modern pagan is to just really get into Halloween, because a lot of the customs have remained pretty much the same. Carving jack-o'-lanterns, there's my cough again. In the olden days, children would put on scary masks and run around to also, as another way of frightening off these spirits, which is where we get the modern custom of dressing up as monsters, and it kind of evolved into now people just dress up as anything. But that is all I did. There wasn't much to it. I made sure I had my jack-o'-lantern carved. I put the candle in it. I gave my offering. on the night of Samhain that I had calculated that I prefer. And it's the thing is a lot of our holidays as pagans, it's really more about being close to it. It's about the season than it is about having the exact right day. And I do personally think it's kind of important to tie it to a moon phase. Samhain is a new moon holiday. Do not celebrate it on a full moon. That is not how Samhain works. Uh, do the new moon. There are holidays that are full moon holidays, and I would have to look up which ones are which, but I know Samhain is a new moon holiday. I think that's all I have to say here. Let me know if you guys think I left something out, if there's something more I could do. Let me know how you guys celebrate Samhain. But it's been real, and I'm kind of proud of myself for having uh, finally, gone out of my way to start celebrating these holidays because I've kind of neglected it in my first couple years as a pagan, and I really shouldn't do that. Oh, by the way, that is candle wax on the floor there. That's not it's not paint. It's not blood. It is wax from my candle that spilled. If there is something wrong spiritually about using a red candle to light a jack-o'-lantern, please someone let me know. I didn't really think about it too much, but a lot of my witch friends tell me you can't use the wrong color candle for stuff, and I should probably do more research on that. And if you guys want, let me know in the comments like what your Samhain rituals are, what your offerings are like. Now, if that's personal, I'm not prying, but if you have any suggestions or anything you find interesting that you did differently than what I did, I'll probably include sweets in my offering next year, but I wanted to keep it kind of simple, slaughter and harvest, and make sure my jack-o'-lantern was there. See you guys in the next one.